Hey, how's it going everyone? Welcome to another RF crypto video. On today's markets, it's gone up slightly. The markets are moving quite laterally at 0.18%. The global crypto market cap is just shy of $2 trillion. It's now standing at 1.99 trillion. Bitcoin has gone down by almost 1.5%. Ethereum really hasn't moved much. 0.08% isn't a significant change. BNB has gone down by almost 2%. Solana by almost 2%. Terra by almost 2%. But we do have a consolidation in the sense that some of the coins are going up and some of the coins are going down, and we come to a convergence where the markets in general or in total haven't moved much. They've just moved by 0.18%, which we can consider it to be the same as yesterday. Interestingly, I was looking here, Unus SED Leo, which is Bitfinex's coin, went up by 51.74% in the last 24 hours, and this is due to the fact that government officials in the US recovered almost $4 billion worth of Bitcoin, which was lost through a hack on the Bitfinex platform a couple of years ago. And Bitfinex said that it would compensate its users by giving them Unus SED Leo coin instead of Bitcoin, which makes sense because they also want to promote their own coin. And this caused the price of their token to go up by almost 50%. So I don't know if this is sustainable. I don't know if this is going to go even higher once the payout starts, but my guess is that this jump was based on emotion, which is based on people aping in because they expect the price to go up, but there will be some corrections and it will tend to go down to anywhere between 5 and 6.5. In terms of fear and greed, the markets are neutral. They're not fearful anymore. Remember a couple of weeks ago when the markets collapsed and the fear and greed index went all the way down to 15? It stayed within this red range for about 2 or 3 months, and people were very, very fearful on investing. If you can see here, last month it was extreme fear. Last week, even last week, the markets were still fearful. And it's with this recent rally when Bitcoin went up from 36,000 to 43,000 that the market started to become more bullish. They started to become more greedy. They started to want to invest more. Now they're neutral, so they're taking more risks in the sense that they're placing more emphasis on Bitcoin and they're placing more money in Bitcoin, also including leverage. So we will see leverage going up in the next few days. We have found a direct correlation between an increase in the fear and greed index and an increase in leverage, because with leverage, if you invest a certain amount at 100x leverage, you can make 100 times the profit you'd make if you invested spot. But at the same time, you can make 100 times loss. However, when people are greedy, when people want to make more money, then they tend to invest in more risky products such as derivative instruments that would give them potentially higher returns. On some good news for Bitcoin, the Russian government and the central bank agreed to treat Bitcoin as currency. So the government and central bank in Russia have reached an agreement on how to regulate cryptos. The government and central bank are now working on a draft law. It's not law yet, so it's basically a bill if it were in the US that will define crypto as an analog of currencies rather than digital assets like it is in India. This draft is set to be launched on the 18th of February, which is not very far away, it's 9 days away. And it says that cryptocurrencies would function in the legal industry only if they have complete identification through the banking system or licensed intermediaries, which makes sense because they want to be able to track these transactions. They want to be able to know that every single transaction that is taking place is going through an exchange that is licensed by the central bank and by some the government, and any information that they need is readily available. The central bank can ask the exchanges, can I have this information about the certain individual or the certain company, and they'll have to comply. And obviously, I mean, it's a no-brainer because they want to be able to monitor the markets for any money laundering, for any fraud, for corruption. If there's any hacks of any platforms, it's easier for government officials and law enforcement agencies to recover those investments. And the report also highlights that cryptocurrency transactions of more than 600,000 rubles, which is roughly $8,000, would have to be declared or be considered a criminal act. So any amount below $8,000 by nature won't have to be declared to the central bank. And I mean, it's funny because the US said that any transactions over $200, so the Reserve Bank said that any transactions over $200 should be declared. And here comes Russia and says that any transactions over $8,000 should be declared. And this is more in line with banking, where if in the US a transaction of more than $9,999 takes place, then it has to be declared, and anything below that doesn't have to be declared. So it is integrating it as a currency, or more as a currency rather than a digital asset or an asset in general, just because they're following more of those rules rather than the rules of, let's say, stocks. And this news comes after months of speculation about how the Russian government would handle digital currencies. In January, the Bank of Russia said that we should ban cryptocurrencies in a report that warned about the speculative industry of the nature. And the central bank also said that financial firms should not facilitate crypto transactions as part of a proposal to ban the same digital currencies. However, the proposal generated opposition from the Russian Ministry of Finance. A few days after the central bank's call for the ban, even Chebeskov, a ministry official, said the government should regulate crypto rather than prohibiting it entirely. He warned that the total ban might result in Russia falling behind in technology. And the Ministry of Finance was completely right, and they made the absolute right choice in this, because if they had a complete ban, then there will be a lot of money flooding out of Russia into other countries, and the Russian economy isn't doing so well at the moment, and that would mean a disaster, or it would worsen their economic plight. But calling to regulate it and allowing it to trade, but in a regulated manner, is very clever. And it allows more money to flow into the market, while at the same time being able to control this flow of money and all the transactions that are taking place. On other news, Shiba Inu entered the Metaverse with Shiba Lands. Leash rockets 40%. So the developers behind the popular meme coin Shiba Inu said that the protocol would soon offer plots of virtual lands in an upcoming yet unnamed metaverse, causing the price of ecosystem tokens like SHIB and Leash to jump as much as 40%. So in this case, only Leash jumped 40%, SHIB's price didn't move much, and this is because the so-called Shiba lands would be found inside the upcoming Shiba Inu metaverse and will be available for purchase or auction using Leash tokens. So you'll need Leash tokens in order to purchase virtual plots of land in the Shiba Inu universe, and people flocked to purchase those Leash tokens, driving up demand and driving up the prices. They want to stock up on Leash tokens so that when the Shiba lands, or it's yet unnamed, but now it's dubbed Shiba lands, when it's live, they're able to quickly participate in the purchase. Also, developers said that they're working on a queue system designed for the Shiba Land sale event. Participants earn a place in the queue based on the amount of Leash they hold. So this is another reason why the Leash token price went up. It's just because people who are interested in the metaverse, or are interested in purchasing land or virtual land in the Shiba Inu metaverse, they want to hold as much Leash tokens as possible so that they can purchase as much land as they can. So a CoinDesk opinion piece says that Terra wants to spend $40 million on a mystery sports deal, which they think is with an MLB team. So on late January 31st, a tweet from Do Kwon, the founder of Terra and a key steward of the blockchain that now holds $12 billion in locked assets, said that he's got a juicy pitch for his lunatics, as the network's faithful go at. Luna token holders must get to vote on greenlighting a professional sports sponsorship, and it's a big one. It's 40 million UST. So UST is a stable coin that is owned by Terra. It is decentralized. When I say owned, it was created by Terra, but it's fully decentralized. However, Do Kwon says that he can't reveal which team it is, and the lawyers won't let him. So there's no way around it. Terra voters must approve a sports sponsorship without knowing which team they're going to sponsor. And I mean, they're going to do it. They're going to vote yes, because most or all of the proposals put forward by Do Kwon have been approved to date. So the CoinDesk writer thinks that it's an MLB team. This is because the club is ideally situated on national. This is because Do Kwon said that the club is ideally situated on national TV broadcasts. It will introduce the Terra brand and provide exposure of our ethos to a diverse and expansive group of people who enjoy watching the team and sports on both TV and in person. In particular, it grants Terra exposure to a national audience that may not have any other avenues for brand exposure to Terra. And according to the CoinDesk writer, baseball fits better than any other league. Only in baseball do broadcasters regularly capture off-field action, because only in baseball do cameras return to one point, which is the home plate. I don't understand anything about baseball, but I assume that home plate is the most important part of the pitch, and many baseball franchises position their VIP lounges directly behind the home plate. It's the best place to view each pitch from the stands, commanding high ticket prices from well-connected fans looking for amenities the nosebleeds simply can't offer. It's also the only seating area that television viewers regularly see in game broadcasts. So the CoinDesk writer says that it's an MLB team that Terra wants to partner with. It will be worth $40 million, which is massive for a sports partnership. And this comes at a time when a lot of these cryptocurrency companies are partnering with sports brand, and not only sports brand, but the sports authority figures as well. For example, Crypto.com signed a $700 million deal in order to rename the Staples Center into Crypto.com Arena. Tezos partnered with Red Bull Racing and McLaren F1 in Formula One, and it also partnered with Manchester United to put their name in Manchester United's training kits. So they are proliferating into sports, and I think this is going to be a trend going into 2022, 2023, 2024. They want to get their name out there in a very competitive industry, which is crypto. They want to have their name in people's minds. Finally, on some good news, US officials seized $3.6 billion in Bitcoin from the 2016 Bitfinex hack. So in 2016, about 120,000 Bitcoin was stolen. It was then worth about $60 million, and it was 1/6 of the total trading volume at the time. So about 17% of total supply. At today's prices, the total amount of Bitcoin stolen is valued at $4.5 billion. However, the Department of Justice only seized about 94,000, which is valued at $3.6 billion. The Department of Justice release alleges the two conspired to launder these proceeds and heavily implies, but does not claim, that they were the original hackers. So, after the execution of court-authorized search warrants of online accounts controlled by Liechtenstein and Morgan, who were the two hackers that stole 120,000 Bitcoin, special agents obtained access to files within an online account controlled by Liechtenstein, which is one of the hackers. Those files contain the private keys required to access the digital wallet that directly received the funds stolen from Bitfinex, and allowed special agents to lawfully seize and recover more than 94,000 Bitcoin that had been stolen from Bitfinex. So, this is a very interesting development because it comes at a time where a lot of hacks are happening and a lot of crypto is being lost to, very sophisticated hackers. And since a lot of these exchanges have security vulnerabilities, they'll obviously be taken advantage of. And the fact that the Department of Justice and special agents managed to recover almost 100,000 Bitcoin, almost $4 billion worth of Bitcoin, says a lot. And it is a big deal because it means that even though crypto is stolen, and they say it's decentralized, you can still recover it. Just the fact that they were able to access their private keys and got the money back is a big deal. It will put fear in hackers' minds, and with more regulation and with more training of these special agents, I think that hacks are going to start becoming less. Not only will hacks start becoming less, but whenever there are hacks, the special agents or government officials, not only in the US, but eventually around the world, will be able to recover the stolen crypto with more ease. And finally, in a statement, Bitfinex said that it would work with the Department of Justice to try and recover the seized Bitcoin. If it does, it will repay investors in its UNUS SED Leo token, which was created to try and backstop a fiscal hole created after an unrelated payment processor used by Bitfinex was seized by authorities in 3 different countries. And I mean, this is why the UNUS SED Leo token rallied by almost 50% in 24 hours, as we spoke about in the beginning of the video. People are trying to ape into it, expecting the price to go up even further, and hopefully they can recover the rest of the Bitcoin, which amounts to about $900 million in value. But I think that money is probably gone elsewhere. It got transferred and laundered, and I don't know if the Department of Justice is going to be able to recover it. But the fact that they were able to recover almost 90% of the stolen Bitcoin is a big deal, and it's a big win. And that's all for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please leave a like. Please hit the subscribe button. Please share the video with your friends and family. I'll see you tomorrow for the next one. Invest wisely, and cheers.